Hello and welcome back to the Doctor's Weight Loss Solution lessons. This week we're on lesson 5, which discusses exercise. Last week we discussed lesson 4, which is behavioral formation. And if you remember, we talked about the antecedent, the behavior, and the consequence. So the antecedent was what triggers you to want to eat, and then the behavior was your response to that trigger, and then the C was the consequence, which is what happens after you have performed your behavior. And so hopefully you've thought about throughout the day, throughout the week, what is it that stimulates you to want to eat? And when it's a negative consequence, you've figured out a different behavior to perform, such as only eat in the kitchen or take the sight of food away by putting it in opaque containers, or maybe even just giving away some of the food you don't want to eat anymore. And so hopefully, again, you've made some changes to your lifestyle, some tweaks, so to speak, so that you're not enticed to eat the bad food. Exercise is a big part of your weight loss, and if you're doing the weight loss program with us here at Advanced Physical Medicine of Yorkville, then we're taking you through a pretty intense exercise program 3 times a week. And even if you're exercising with us, we still want you to exercise at home. If you can get about 20 to 30 minutes of exercise every single day, you will be successful in your weight loss. Exercise does not have to be complicated. It can be as simple as walking or power walking or jogging or rollerblading or playing tennis. It can be also as simple as going up and down your stairs at home and having goals of doing so many steps. What I want you to focus on is getting your heart rate into your target heart rate zone. To find that, it's a math formula. You take the number 220 and subtract your age. Once you get that number, you multiply that by 70%, and that will be your target heart rate. You can go a little above it or a little below it, but if you can work out to get your heart rate up and then remain in that target heart rate zone, you're going to be doing just fine. And you may find in the beginning your heart rate shoots up pretty quickly, but as you exercise more and more throughout the weeks, you will find that it gets harder to get your heart rate up. And that's a good thing. Your heart's a muscle, and it will respond to exercise by strengthening. When it strengthens, it's pumping more blood when it beats, and so therefore it doesn't have to beat as often. So what you're doing is adding years to your life by helping your heart be stronger so it doesn't have to work as hard. Before each routine of exercise, you'll find here we always do a warm-up, either on the treadmill or the recumbent bike, or even what we call an upper extremity ergometer, which is like a bike for your hands. And we do that warm-up for typically around 4 to 5 minutes, and then we take you through a series of stretches. Once we finish those stretches, we get in more to the strengthening exercises. And I would like for you to replicate that at home. If you just dive right into a strengthening program without doing the proper warm-up, you're at more risk for injury. And that's especially true as we get older. When we're young, and by young I mean in our teenage years, we're able to pretty much get away with about anything physically with our body. But as we get older, we need to warm up, and then we can do our strengthening exercises, and then we need to make sure we cool down as well, whether that's a walk or some type of cardiovascular activity, or it could even be doing some stretches again. And so that warm up and cool down period is very, very important for you. At our facility, if you're doing exercises, we use a polar watch in order to keep track of your heart rate. And for those of you that are doing exercise here, you'll find that we have you put on a watch around your wrist, and then there's a strap that you put around your chest. We ordered those online, and I think they were around $60 or $70 a piece. And so if you want to keep track of your heart rate on an ongoing basis, you can always purchase one of those polar watches, or even the Fitbit now has your heart rate. It keeps track of your heart rate for you, so that would work as well. If you want to do it without buying something, you can always try to find your carotid artery here on your neck, and you use your first 2 fingers and you feel, and what you would do is count the number of heartbeats that you feel over a 15-second time period, and then multiply that number times 4, and you'll get your heartbeat. For example, if you have a stopwatch and you count for 15 seconds, or you keep track of your watch for 15 seconds, and you feel 25 heartbeats, you multiply that by 4, then your heart rate would be 100 beats per minute. And when you get your target heart rate, it's always in beats per minute. So if your target heart rate's 150, that would be 150 beats per minute. But if you don't like all the math, you can just buy a Polar watch or use a Fitbit or whatever your favorite heart rate monitor is, and you can keep track of that heart rate. You never want to go past 85% of your max. And so to figure out the max, it's similar to how you figured out what your target heart rate is. And so to figure out your heart rate max that I don't want you to go over, you do 220 minus your age. And then once you have that number, you multiply that by 85%. And that would be your maximum heart rate that I would want you to get up to. So once you find that, you know what the maximum is. I have I guess a precaution for those that aren't working out with us. The heart rate at the 70% or the 85% of the max is just a general concept that does not work that way for everyone. And if you're not working out with us, I suggest that you talk to your physician and find out what they want for your heart rate. We have had, for example, patients that have pacemakers installed and other patients that have defibrillators installed, and those patients have restrictions from their cardiologist that we follow, and it doesn't follow our typical 70%. So make sure you confirm with your physician what the heart rate should be. The goal with exercise is to do things that you find enjoyable, whether that's walking around at the mall, whether it's going for a jog, whether it's playing sports with your kids, soccer, basketball, whatever it may be. But find something that you enjoy, especially for those patients that tell me they hate exercise. Find something that's not exercise to them. Whereas most people think of exercise, I have to go to the gym, I have to lift weights, I have to get on a treadmill, a stepper, an elliptical, a recumbent bike in order for it to be exercise. And that's not true. If you enjoy swimming, you can get in the pool and swim some laps. So find something you enjoy so that you don't dread the exercise. And then the key is just doing it on a consistent basis. Doing it 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes, whatever you have time for every single day, and it will help you to achieve your goal. So good luck. I know you can do it. You will succeed. We'll see you next time.